like books.
Books are great.
Let's
Guess
go
we'll read some
books.
books. Now we are.
We are live.
Welcome back to WeRead, Unoffendable. Karen,
Yes.
pop quiz.
Uh-huh.
What is our national pastime?
It's complaining.
Yeah.
You were expecting me to say baseball or something. So
A
you
lot
off
of people think that our national pastime is baseball. That's actually a misconception. As an American, I can tell you with absolute certainty, we love to complain. We are a nation full of classroom clowns and spitwad throwers.
Yes. In your defense, I tried to say baseball and then I corrected myself. Alright. Where were we?
I can let stuff go because it's not all about me. Simply reminding myself to refuse to take offense is a big part of the battle. Shoot, we get offended by behavior of people we don't even know. We'll go out of our way to do it, consuming news to hear what outrageous things some celebrity did or said. Our whole culture does this. Taking offense is a national sport. As for Viola's claim that Christians are the worst, well, I live near San Francisco, and while it's largely a post-Christian culture, there are plenty of things one can do or think that the culture there will find terribly offensive.
No kidding.
It's actually a very long list. It's just a different list. Natural as this is, Jesus came along and gave us a distinctly supernatural and radically better way to live. Oddly, working in Christian media, I hear from a lot of people who are all about living a radical Christian life.
TM David Platt.
Radical is a great word, but when it comes to something as radical as, say, dropping a right to offense or anger, no thanks. It's true that sometimes people try to offend us, and that they're intentionally hurtful and spiteful. And yet, there Jesus is on the cross saying, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. A fair question, then, is that same Jesus living in and through me still saying that? Don't press anything, it's loading. The 3 dots means it's loading.
You are inconsiderate.
Hilarious?
Yeah.
I'm
That
really
too.
funny?
Yeah.
Oh, you're so sweet.
And here's another tough question. Are we really honestly aware of just how little we actually know about other people? When it comes to human motives, deciding why people do the things they do, who's righteous and who isn't, we're actually worse than clueless. Because while we're being clueless, we're simultaneously under the impression that we're brilliant. That's a profound statement. And what must surely be one of the most ignored passages of the Bible. Paul wrote this 2 millennia ago. As for myself, I do not care if I am judged by you or by any human court. I do not even judge myself. I know of no wrong I have done, but this does not make me right before the Lord. The Lord is the one who judges me. So do not judge before the right time. Wait until the Lord comes. He will bring to light things that are now hidden in darkness, and will make known the secret purposes of people's hearts. Then God will praise each one of them. Context. Yes, he did say, in effect, only God can judge me, but you've got to look at the context of the passage.
That's amazing! Think about what Paul was writing here. He doesn't know anyone's motives, not even his own.
That there's right. Right.
If even his own conscience was clear, that didn't make him innocent. Paul was aware of his own ability to judge himself. He couldn't be trusted. So he said, leave the judging up to God. He'll sort it out in the end. Just shoot them both, take them back to the SGC, and we'll figure it out then. So you don't know which one's a Tok'ra and which one's a Goa'uld.
Just shoot them both once and then take them. That's actually really smart. I don't know how that episode is going to go then. Don't spoil the commenters. This can't be glossed over. Think about how taking this to heart could deflate our own anger, even before it takes hold. We have no idea what is in someone else's heart. We don't know the backstory. We don't know what's happening in his mind. We don't know how her brain works.
We think we do, sure.
But we don't. Coming from a substitute teaching perspective, a lot of times the most, I guess you could call them annoying, the hardest kids to work with are often the ones who have the saddest backstories. There's a reason that they are acting out that much. It's infuriating to deal with, yes, but a lot of times there's a really There's a story behind it that you don't want to know. So, let's review. God knows others' private motives.
We don't.
God knows our private motives.
We don't.
We think we can judge others' motives.
We're wrong.
We're wrong. We can never be more wrong. I'm working on my Martin Lloyd
We're not
Jones.
just wrong. We're Martin Lloyd Jones wrong.
Yes. We're Martin Lloyd wrong. That's a thing we're trying to start. Martin Lloyd
Not that Martin Lloyd Jones is wrong. We love Martin Lloyd Jones. But he has a habit of calling other people just as wrong as they could possibly be.
Yeah, we do love it. We read his commentary a lot. But I think it's humorous.
Woo. That was a baby bird.
Thank you, baby, for your commentary. We should abandon our quote-unquote right to anger, simply because we can deceive ourselves so easily. And, this is stunning, get this. If you fancy yourself a reasonable, fair-minded person, you may be in particular peril of fooling yourself.
What if you reason yourself a fancy-minded person?
In that case, you're just in particular peril of fooling your wardrobe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dan Kahan. Dan Kahan. Dan Kahan.
So those who think, what they're saying is those who think they stand should take care lest they fall.
Yes. Isn't that, where'd that come from? Not the Bible.
The Bible? It came from the Bible!
I think that did come from the Bible,
It did come from the Bible.
Okay. Cool name, Dan Kahan. A Yale law professor, or Don Kahan, recently led a study that found Donkey Kong, yes.
It's Don Kakan. Don Kakan.
I'm gonna just call him Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I'm calling him Don Kakan. A Yale law professor recently led a study that found that our passions and biases undermine even basic reasoning. All that coming from a giant gorilla. Don Kakan.
That makes sense. The study showed that people who are normally very adept at math are suddenly unable to solve a problem when the obvious answer conflicts with their political beliefs.
Or when there's a giant smashing gorilla ground pounding them.
Yes. That would make me unable to do simple math. And it's not as if the smartest, quote-unquote, people were able to do better at solving the problems. In fact, the researchers found that the better the people were at math, the more apt they were to try to avoid the actual answer. This applied to both liberals and conservatives, by the way. Instead of changing our beliefs to match reality, we often just rearrange reality in our heads to match what we want. Never. Never. We never make ourselves the victim.
Thank you for a good example, Karen. Yet another reason. When there are two sides to a story, we tend to think the first one we hear is the right one. I learned this, of course, by watching The People's Court. After school, every day. I always thought the plaintiff had a great case until I heard the other side. This bias is universal. It's not new either. Check out Proverbs 18:17. The first one to plead his case seems right, until his neighbor comes and examines him. Life is full of conflicts, disputes, differing perspectives, and in all of those, guess whose perspective I hear first? That's easy. Mine. Mine. I establish a storyline, and I can get angry before I even hear the other side, which is yet another reason to be very suspicious of ourselves. So in the interest of justice and fairness, we need to reserve judgment until we've heard both sides, and then even after that.
Exactly. The other book touched on that.
So let's have the guts and the humility to believe what the Bible says about us and what the research shows. We simply can't trust ourselves in our judgments of others. We don't know what they're really thinking, or their background, or what motivated them, whatever they did. And since we don't know, let's choose ahead of time. We're just not going to get offended by people.
If I don't need to be right, I don't have to reshape reality to fit the story of my rightness. That makes life much easier. And that makes us much more peaceful and even fun to be around. I'm pretty sure I've read a few autobiographies that are basically telling the story of my rightness.
The story of my rightness?
They don't say
so
that.
Obscenely right. The world just couldn't handle, wasn't ready for how right I was. They've never seen my level of rightitude.
I'd like to see an autobiography titled The Story of My Rightness. Just for fun,
yes.
like a parody.
The heart is deceptive and calls for humility above all else. Because my heart isn't deceptive because it fools other people. It's deceptive because it fools me. Bum, bum, bum. This is the book song. I make it up as I go along. I'm singing so that the credits have time to roll. This is the book song. It's getting worse because I don't rehearse. So click on the next video and let's all read some books.